Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Global Conflict News. Please subscribe and like my videos because today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and tense developments coming out of Russia. A Ukrainian strike that has reportedly damaged several of Moscow's iconic towers. This event has not only sent shockwaves throughout the Russian Federation, but also across the entire geopolitical landscape, as it marks an unprecedented escalation in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. This attack didn't just target military sites or infrastructure, it hit right at the heart of the Russian capital, in a place that symbolizes power, wealth, and modernity, Moscow City. Today, we're going to explore this incident from every angle: how it happened, what kind of weaponry was used, what it means for Russia's defense systems, how it reflects Ukraine's growing military capabilities, and what it could mean for the future of this conflict. To start with the exterior perspective, Moscow's skyline is one of the most recognizable in Eastern Europe. The gleaming glass towers of the Moscow International Business Center, also known as Moscow City, represent the ambition of modern Russia. These skyscrapers, which host government offices, international banks, and luxury apartments, are symbols of Moscow's economic power. But after this latest Ukrainian drone or missile attack, the exterior of some of these buildings tells a different story. According to early reports, explosions were seen near the IQ Quarter and Federation Tower, some of the tallest and most secure buildings in Russia. The exterior damage was visible: shattered glass, smoke rising from the upper floors, and debris scattered across nearby streets. This is something no one thought they would see in the Russian capital. The heart of the country's business district hit directly. The attack showed that even with Russia's powerful air defense systems, the sky over Moscow is no longer completely safe. The psychological impact on citizens and officials alike has been immense, with many realizing that the front lines of war are no longer distant. Now let's move inside the story, the interior aspect of what happened and what it means on a deeper level. Inside those towers that were struck, employees and residents experienced moments of absolute chaos. People reported hearing loud blasts, feeling the buildings shake, and seeing sparks and fires through the glass. Videos posted on social media show panicked workers running down stairwells and emergency vehicles rushing to the site. The interior of the damaged floors, which once housed expensive offices and conference rooms, now show scenes of devastation. Walls ripped apart, computers destroyed, and ceilings collapsed. Beyond the physical damage, the interior story here is about what's happening inside Russia itself. The morale inside the Kremlin, the confidence of the Russian people, and the perception of Moscow's invulnerability have all been shaken. Russia has always portrayed itself as a fortress nation, powerful, well-defended, and untouchable, but this incident pierced through that image, revealing vulnerabilities that the Kremlin desperately wanted to hide. This also raises deeper questions about the performance of Russia's air defense network, the very system that was supposed to protect Moscow from aerial threats. The S-400 and Panzer systems stationed around Moscow are considered some of the best in the world, capable of detecting and intercepting incoming drones and missiles from long distances. Yet somehow, Ukraine's weapons managed to get through. The performance of these air defenses during the attack has been criticized even by Russian analysts. Videos show streaks of light in the sky, anti-aircraft missiles trying to intercept drones, but several explosions still occurred near high-rise buildings. It suggests that either the drones were too small and fast to be detected, or they were launched in swarms to overwhelm the system. This attack highlights a crucial reality. Even advanced air defense systems can be vulnerable when faced with evolving drone warfare tactics. Ukraine seems to have mastered this form of asymmetric warfare, using affordable and adaptable drones to strike deep into Russian territory, causing strategic and psychological damage far greater than their cost. Speaking of performance, the Ukrainian military's increasing ability to hit strategic targets far from the front lines demonstrates their growing technological sophistication. This wasn't just a random strike. Ukraine's intelligence and targeting appear to be improving rapidly, with drones now able to travel hundreds of kilometers to reach Moscow. The success of this operation, even if limited in physical destruction, is massive in symbolic value. It tells both Russia and the world that Ukraine can hit the very core of the Russian state if necessary. This level of performance from Ukraine's defense and intelligence sectors is remarkable, especially when you consider that just a few years ago, Ukraine had almost no long-range strike capability. Now, they are testing Russia's defenses, revealing weaknesses, and forcing the Kremlin to divert resources from the front lines to protect the capital. Now let's talk about safety features, or rather, the lack of them in this situation. Moscow is one of the most surveilled and defended cities on Earth, yet the recent strikes prove that no system is entirely foolproof. The air defense network around Moscow relies heavily on radar coverage and interception missiles, but when drones fly low, slow, or use electronic countermeasures, they can bypass detection. Russia has been trying to adapt its safety measures, deploying electronic jammers, radar balloons, and even small arms patrols to spot drones. However, the effectiveness of these safety features remains questionable. The attack on the towers exposed a serious gap, a failure to ensure the safety of critical civilian infrastructure. Residents of Moscow are now asking whether they can feel secure in their own city. If drones can hit the most protected area in Russia, what about smaller cities or power plants? The sense of safety that once defined life in the capital has been replaced with uncertainty. This shift has a powerful psychological effect. It changes how citizens perceive their government's ability to protect them. From another perspective, this attack also highlights the safety risks of modern urban warfare. Unlike traditional battlefields, where combat happens in open areas, urban targets contain civilians, critical infrastructure, and high-density populations. The precision of Ukraine's drones minimized casualties this time, but it raises ethical and strategic questions about striking near civilian buildings. Ukraine insists these towers were being used for government or military communications, making them legitimate targets, while Russia calls it terrorism. Either way, it shows how modern conflicts have blurred the line between military and civilian targets, making the safety of non-combatants increasingly difficult to guarantee. When we talk about unique selling points, what makes this incident so significant is how it changes the very nature of warfare. Traditionally, wars were fought on defined fronts with clear battle lines. But what we're seeing now is a new era. A war fought not just on land, but through drones, electronic warfare, and intelligence. Ukraine's unique advantage here lies in innovation. Instead of trying to match Russia tank for tank or missile for missile, Ukraine is using creativity, technology, and precision to achieve strategic goals. Their homemade drones, often costing just a fraction of a Russian missile, are redefining the cost-to-impact ratio in warfare. This asymmetric approach is Ukraine's unique selling point: agility, adaptability, and psychological warfare. Meanwhile, Russia's selling point, heavy firepower and large-scale defense systems, is beginning to show its age in the face of modern, flexible tactics. This contrast between a technologically nimble Ukraine and a traditionally armed Russia is reshaping the conflict and drawing attention from military strategists worldwide. If we were to think of this conflict like a massive defense project, then we could say the price of these operations, both literal and figurative, is enormous. On one hand, the economic cost of the damage in Moscow runs into millions of dollars. Those towers are not just symbolic structures, they're part of the country's financial ecosystem. The repairs, security upgrades, and business disruptions all add up. But the bigger price is psychological and political. For Russia, the cost of maintaining the image of control is rising. Every successful Ukrainian strike inside Russia weakens the Kremlin's narrative of dominance and exposes vulnerabilities to the public and the world. On the Ukrainian side, the price of innovation and persistence is also high. Each drone mission requires intelligence, risk, and sacrifice. Ukraine is using resources carefully, balancing between strategic gains and potential escalations. Yet, the international support they gain through such bold operations, showing resilience and determination, often outweighs the risks. In conclusion, the attack on Moscow's towers marks a historic turning point in this conflict. It's not just about the physical damage, it's about what it symbolizes. It shows that Ukraine, despite being the smaller and less equipped nation, can project power deep inside Russian territory. It also shows that Russia, despite its claims of military superiority, is struggling to adapt to a new kind of warfare. The exterior damage to the towers is visible to everyone, but the interior damage, the shaken confidence, the questions about safety, and the doubts about leadership, runs even deeper. The performance of Russia's defense systems has been questioned, while Ukraine's has been praised. The safety features that once seemed impenetrable have shown cracks. The unique selling point of this entire episode is how it demonstrates that innovation can outsmart tradition, and strategy can overpower sheer strength. The price, however, is steep. Both nations continue to pay it daily in different ways. As the world watches, one thing is clear: the battlefield is evolving. What happened in Moscow will likely push both sides to rethink their strategies. Russia will tighten its defenses, and Ukraine will refine its long-range capabilities. But no matter how this plays out, the psychological impact of seeing the Russian capital under attack will remain one of the defining images of this war. It is a reminder that in modern conflicts, technology, intelligence, and determination can change the course of history, even against overwhelming odds.